Hi guys, it's Crystal with Design Bundles. Today I'm going to show you guys how to use a heat press. Now for today, I'm using a swing away heat press, but you have a clamshell heat press. There is all sorts of heat presses, even down to the Cricut Easy Press that you just apply the heat like an iron. Now, for today, I'm using the swing away, which actually swings out. And the very first thing you want to do is turn it on. So you want to find your power button. Mine, for example, is in the back. And then you should have a couple buttons that help you set your temperature as well as your time. So you just want to kind of go through there, figure out with your product, what time do you need as well as your temp. So I've got those set here. With a swing away, as you can see, when I lift it up like this, I actually slide mine over to the side, where a clamshell would lift straight up. Now for me, I actually have a cover on this. You could use a Teflon sheet. You always want to protect your top platen, but for this particular model, it does come with these that you can purchase on the side to apply to protect your bottom platen. Now, this swing away in particular does swing all the way around, but I have it up against the wall, so I can't show you that here today. Now with a clamshell, you would just lift straight up. So I'm really in love with the swingaways. I have owned the clamshell in the past, and it's really nice to work with. All right, so let's go over some of the supplies that you may need with your heat press. So I've already got my design here. I cut this out with my Cricut machine here. And so a few things are heat gloves. Heat gloves are great to keep on hand. That way, if you were pressing, say for example, metal or anything like that, you're gonna protect yourself because it's super duper hot. You may wanna invest in some heat tape. This is gonna help hold down your transfers or sublimation papers. You have pressing pillows. These are perfect to avoid those seams. So like this small one you would use with baby onesies. It's going to be perfect. So I thought today I would show you this bag. There may be some smaller youth t-shirts. This longer one, for example, will be perfect for sleeves. So you definitely want to invest in some pressing pillows. Now, another thing you want to get is some craft paper. So right here, this is just a very thick craft paper that is made for your heat press. You can use butcher paper, people call it blowout paper, and parchment paper you can even get at the store. So these are some great options that you need to protect your top platen. You can protect your bottom as well as your top platen with those things. So that's really it that you need for your heat press, and you're going to be good to go. Those are just great starters. So let's go ahead and make this bag here. So I want to show you a pressing pillow with your heat press today. So I've already cut this out like I said, and we want to avoid those seams. As you can see, I've got some on the bottom and the side. So all you have to do is take that pressing pillow. You want to make sure you find one that's bigger than your design that's going to fit inside your product, whether it's a t-shirt, a onesie, a sleeve. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this all the way down so my image will fit right on here. Now, one of the very first things that you want to do with your heat press is pull out your moisture. It doesn't matter what you're pressing, if it's a t-shirt, a tote bag, you always want to pre-press it for around 5 to 15 seconds to pull out any moisture as well as smooth out any wrinkles. If you have a wrinkle in your garment, you could get that underneath your, say for example, HTV, and when you pull on the t-shirt, it will tear. So all you need to do is kind of prop this up here. I'm going to get it in all the way to where my design is, leaving the handles out. Now, depending on your heat press, you may need to adjust your pressure of your press, and there is a knob on all machines to kind of do that. So you can see that black knob in the back there. You would just simply turn that until you're going to be able to get a nice even pressure. You should not have to force your handle down. So now that we've got everything smoothed out, we are ready to do our design here. So when it comes to your heat press, if you have a multiple layer design like this, you only want to press each layer for a few seconds, and then your final layer you will press at the full time. So that way you're not overheating your product. Now another thing is, in between layers you want to protect that top platen. So I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to go ahead and press this here. We're just going to get a few seconds in, and then we'll go ahead and lift it back up just like so, and then move it out of our way. So you want to peel this like a worm peel. Be careful because it's not at its full temp yet, so you may have to let it cool down just a little bit before you can peel. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that, and I'm going to keep layering in those pieces. So whichever piece needs to go second. So for example, I can get this in here. Now you never want to overlap pieces or it could get stuck underneath. Now here comes that tape. You see how that's kind of popping up? I'm going to help hold that down to ensure that it's not going to shift using that heat tape. Now, as long as you can add in other layers without having it overlap on the vinyl, you can definitely do that. So for example, these pieces are way away from the other one, so I don't have to worry about any of those pieces getting trapped under the other transfer sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and line this color in as well, so that way we get less presses. If you can avoid less presses, definitely do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add my last little pencil piece right here, just like so. Now this is a mistake I've made, but luckily it didn't hurt my press. You see those other pieces that are not covered and protected? I should have put a parchment paper or the craft paper or a Teflon sheet in between. So that way, just in case, because that could have got stuck on my top platen and ruined it, or potentially got on another product and things like that. So you always want to make sure that you put a parchment paper. So I'm going to go ahead and peel all of these pieces off. You see that I kind of waited just a second, and that's because it's a warm peel. So you don't want to peel too fast. So I'm going to go ahead and come back in with this black here, and I'm going to peel it at an angle as well. All right, so let's go ahead and line in our next piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and add in these little black pieces here for the lead. And then once again, I will be able to layer in another color because they're not going to be close to each other. So once again, if we can avoid those extra presses, definitely try to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and add these ones in here, and then we'll start to line up these other pieces. And once again, if you need to at this point, you may need to use some heat tape to hold those in place, but I think my pieces are going to be able to adjust by themselves, and I'm not too concerned about them moving around. So I'm going to go ahead and continue just to add all of my little pieces in here. So I've got 2 more of these here. Now with this particular design, these are not butt up against each other. I have a little bit of a gap, so I'm just trying to be careful of where I'm placing these. So we've got 1 more to go. So we're going to go ahead and line this up just like so. All right, so now let's go ahead and cover this with that parchment paper. So once again, you can purchase parchment paper specifically for, pressing for your heat press. It's just baking sheets at the end of the day. You could definitely purchase it locally at your grocery store, the Dollar Tree, and things like that. But I will have these ones linked down below. I love to purchase these from Amazon. Comes in such a big pack, and they perfectly fit on our product, and they're already cut down for us. So I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way, and then we're going to quickly peel all of these pieces here. Now, once again, when it comes to our final press, we are going to press this now at the full time. Another thing that I do sometimes is, say this is my last press, I'll only press this for a few seconds as well, and that way my final press is without anything. That way any of these lines that you may get on top, so say for example, I was actually layering this exactly on top of the other colors, I would want to press for a few seconds, lift them off, take them off, and then press, because sometimes that plastic leaves like a little line on top of your product. But once you peel that and you press one more time, it will smooth everything out. And that's it. So now we're ready to go ahead and lift this up, move it out of our way. We're going to take off that parchment paper and go ahead and peel away all these excess transfer pieces. So that's it. We're done. If you want to press one more time for just for 1 or 2 seconds to smooth everything, you definitely can. So at this point, you just want to remove that pressing pillow. Always make sure that you slide your press, the top platen, back over the bottom, because that's going to keep that heat. If not, it's going to be fighting to maintain that heat. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.